All right. Let's jump into a career that's like really making waves right now. Hydropower technician.
Yeah, it's a hot field.
So you're obviously interested or you wouldn't be here. And luckily, RoleCatcher put together this awesome career guide that's like bursting with insights.
Right.
It's all about being on the front lines of renewable energy,
Mm.
keeping those turbines humming and the power flowing.
Yeah, and it's not just about like pushing buttons, right? We're
Yeah.
talking huge systems here. I mean, some of these turbines are as big as a house.
Wow.
Yeah, you really need to understand how all the mechanical and electrical parts work together so you can, troubleshoot problems and keep everything running smoothly.
So it's a good thing you like hands-on work then.
Yeah.
All right. Because this guide, it doesn't sugarcoat it. It's demanding, often in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, you'll be in offices and labs some of the time, but be ready for noise, vibrations, you name it. It's the great outdoors, right?
True.
But on the plus side, that often translates to travel opportunities, which the guide points out as a major perk.
A little adventure never hurt, right? But it's not all about brawn. The guide really stresses staying up to date on tech stuff, too.
Yeah, and what's really cool is how fast hydropower tech is moving. There's always a new turbine design or control system popping up. A hydropower technician, they got to be a lifelong learner, keep those skills sharp.
Which makes sense when you see how many jobs are out there. It's not just a fad or something.
Nope.
The Bureau of Labor Statistics, they're predicting a 3% growth rate for hydropower technicians from 2019 to 2029. That's
Wow.
huge. It shows how much the world wants renewable energy.
Totally. And that demand really shapes the pros and cons that the guide lays out. So on the plus side, high demand, right? Tons of chances to grow in your career, and that feel-good factor of working in clean energy.
Right, right. Plus, you got the hands-on stuff we talked about, the travel potential. Sounds like the perfect gig for someone who likes to stay busy and see new places. You know what I mean?
For sure. But, it's got to be said, every rose has its thorns. The guide's honest about that. Physically demanding, there are some inherent risks. Schedules can be unpredictable, and you might have to relocate to land the best opportunity.
Really good point. It all boils down to finding that career that fits your life and your goals.
Exactly. So, speaking of which, how about we talk about how you actually break into this field? What does the guide say about education and all that?
Oh, man, that's a good question. Because you might be surprised how many paths can lead you to becoming a hydropower technician. Seriously. The guide, it lists all these different educational backgrounds. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's not like you need a degree that says hydropower technician on it, right?
Right.
It's all about having that strong base in STEM fields. So, like, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, heck, even environmental science can be a great starting point.
And here's where things get really interesting.
Right.
RoleCatcher, they actually walk you through like a typical career ladder in this field. You start out as an entry-level technician, and then you can climb all the way up to a leadership position.
Yeah. And each step comes with more responsibility, of course. You'll probably need additional certifications, too, to prove you have the skills. Like, there's the Certified Hydroelectric Plant Operator certification. That one shows employers you really know your stuff when it comes to how these plants work.
So you're constantly learning, adding new skills to your like mental toolbox.
Yeah.
And what really stood out to me in the guide was how it emphasizes both, like technical knowledge and those practical hands-on abilities. You have to be able to read dials and gauges, keep equipment in tip-top shape, fix things under pressure, and
Safety. Can't forget about safety.
right. Following those safety procedures is crucial.
It's a big deal.
Absolutely. You're dealing with serious machinery, often in less than ideal conditions. But it's also about using your head, thinking critically, solving problems on the fly. You're the one who keeps those turbines turning, after all. Now, before we get to the really exciting stuff, interview prep, I think this is a good spot to take a breather and pick back up in part 2 of this deep dive.
Welcome back. One of the things I really like about RoleCatcher's guide is how it gets you ready for the actual job hunt, especially the interview.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They don't mess around either. It's not just tell me about yourself and all that.
Right.
They go deep, like really deep.
Yeah.
Scenario-based questions, the kind that really make you think on your feet and show what you know.
Yeah, they actually link to these really detailed guides on common questions for hydropower technicians. Like, imagine you're in a remote location, right? Limited resources. How do you fix a major piece of equipment? Stuff like that.
Oh,
Yeah. Makes you think. That's intense. And it really forces you to, prove you understand what the job's actually like, not just the theory.
totally. It's like they're throwing you right into the action, huh?
Exactly.
And having those answers ready to go, that's got to put you miles ahead of other people applying.
For sure. It shows you're serious, that you've done your homework. And it gets even better. RoleCatcher, they have tools to practice too and get this AI feedback. Like, you record yourself answering these tough questions, and the AI analyzes it, tells you how you did.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. So it's like having a personal coach,
Yeah.
but like digital.
Totally. But okay, for now, let's switch gears a bit, circle back to the career path itself. Remember how we were talking about the whole ladder thing, starting with entry-level tech?
Yes.
What does that actually look like day to day, you know?
Right, right.
So at the entry level, it's all about, learning the ropes, getting your hands dirty, both literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
You'll be helping with installations, doing routine checks and maintenance, and just like getting familiar with these complex systems, building that foundation, you know?
So it's like learning by doing,
Yeah.
shadowing the more experienced techs.
Yeah, exactly. You might be assisting with repairs, watching how the senior guys troubleshoot, and really important, getting trained up on all the safety rules, because let's be real, safety is huge in this field.
Absolutely.
Huge.
Absolutely. You're working with powerful equipment, sometimes high up or in tight spaces. The guy
Yeah.
that actually has this example profile, it's a real entry-level technician. And it's really cool to see how into renewable energy they are. They're like eager to learn,
Right.
And they mentioned having a degree in renewable energy engineering, which is interesting. And they already have some certifications, even at that level.
Yeah. It just shows that while experience is obviously important, coming in with that solid education and those industry recognized certifications, that gives you a real leg up, even at the very beginning.
Totally, totally. So, okay, you've put in the time, you've got some experience, and now you're moving up. Junior technician, what's the biggest change in responsibility there?
Junior level, you're getting more freedom,
Oh.
more responsibility too. You're handling installations and maintenance more on your own, doing deeper inspections.
Got it. So more independent, more like problem solving on your own.
Exactly. You're not just following instructions anymore. You're thinking critically about the work. You're troubleshooting. You're working with engineers to, make the systems run even better. Teamwork and communication, those are key at this level, the guide says.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and they give another example profile here, this time a junior tech. This person, they're all about details, always making the system better, and big on safety, of course. They even have a bachelor's degree in hydropower engineering, which is impressive, and a couple more advanced certifications.
Wow. So they're really building up that expertise, huh?
Yeah, it shows that you got to be learning constantly in this career,
Right. It's not just about what you know. It's about always growing, always proving you want to be better.
Exactly.
Okay, speaking of growth, let's talk about the next step. Senior technician.
Oh, yeah.
Now we're getting serious.
This is a whole different level. This is where you shift from doing to leading. You're running projects. You're the one in charge of the team, using all that experience to solve the really tough problems and make sure everything runs like a perfectly tuned machine.
Right, so you're the go-to person.
Exactly.
You've got the answers. That's got to feel good.
It's very rewarding, yeah. You've earned that respect and you're making a real difference. And the guide's example profile for the senior tech, it really gets that across. This person, they've led tons of projects, they're known for solving problems nobody else can, and they're big on creating a culture of safety for everyone on their team.
That's so important. And they haven't stopped learning either, right? I mean, they've got a master's degree now in hydropower engineering, plus a few specialized certifications in system analysis and project management. Wow, that's dedication.
For sure. And it highlights just how important a senior technician is in a hydropower plant. Their know-how and their focus on making things run smoothly, that's what keeps those turbines spinning.
Speaking of spinning, let's talk about the top of the mountain. The role that makes all that hard work worth it. Lead technician. So what's the deal with this position?
This is where it all comes together. The lead tech, they're not just managing, they're leading. They're inspiring their team. They're pushing for new and better ways of doing things, overseeing multiple teams, coming up with strategies to supercharge the system's performance and their problem solving. Legendary.
So they're basically the hydropower superhero.
Pretty much, yeah.
What kind of projects would they be involved with?
Oh, think big system upgrades, working with engineers and everybody else to bring in the latest and greatest tech, making sure everything's up to code, especially because those regulations are always changing. You might even be in on designing and building new turbines or other vital parts of the whole system.
That's huge. But it's not just technical stuff, right? The guide talks a lot about leadership, good communication, always looking for ways to improve things.
For sure, and the lead technician profile in the guide really highlights all that. They've created and put into action like whole strategies to make things more efficient. They're like troubleshooting wizards, and they're always looking for ways to make things safer and work even better. Plus, years of experience, obviously, a bachelor's in electrical engineering, and a stack of certifications in safety and regulations.
It's incredible to see how far a hydropower technician can go, starting with those hands-on tasks and then, leading major projects, helping to shape the future of clean energy. Pretty inspiring.
Totally. And we're not even done yet. There's so much more in the RoleCatcher guide. They have this whole section on frequently asked questions, which covers some common concerns and gives even more great advice.
Oh, perfect. And speaking of more to come, I think that's a great place to pause for now. Make sure to catch the final part of our deep dive, where we'll tackle those FAQs and leave you with some final thoughts as you start your journey to becoming a hydropower technician. All right, we're back for the final part of our hydropower technician deep dive. I feel like we've covered a ton, but this RoleCatcher guide is so detailed.
It really is. It's like they thought of everything.
They did, and that includes this awesome FAQ section.
Oh, yeah, it's gold.
They get into like career progression, those professional organizations, even some of the tougher parts of the job. Which, speaking of, one question that really jumped out at me was about the hazards. It's serious stuff.
Yeah, you gotta be realistic, right?
Right. And the guide doesn't shy away from that, which I appreciate. They talk about electrical hazards, working way up high, those tight spaces, heavy equipment.
It's physical work, no doubt. There are risks, just like any job, but especially this one.
Exactly. So how does a hydropower technician, actually deal with those risks?
Yeah.
What kind of safety stuff is in place?
Well, the guide really emphasizes strict safety procedures. And using the right gear, of course. Personal protective equipment. They call it PPE for short.
PPE.
So that's your hard hats, harnesses, special stuff for when you're working with electrical systems, all that. But it goes deeper,
Bet.
The whole industry's got to have that safety-first mindset. Regular training, they assess the risks constantly. Everyone's committed to doing things the right way from the ground up.
That's good to hear, that it's so ingrained in the work. But, okay, enough about the risky stuff.
Right.
Let's talk about something more positive, like the job outlook.
Yeah.
One of the FAQs actually addresses that, and with all this global push for renewable energy, I'm hoping it's good news.
Well, you're not wrong to be optimistic. The guide, it does mention that things like government policies, how much demand there is for hydropower projects, that can vary from place to place.
Right, makes sense.
But overall, pretty sunny.
Nice.
The world wants clean energy, which means they'll need skilled hydropower technicians to make it happen.
Music to my ears. And speaking of helpful stuff, I was super impressed by all the links RoleCatcher gives you. They don't just keep you stuck on their website. They want you to explore.
I love that. It's like they're saying, hey, we're a great resource, but don't just take our word for it.
Exactly. So they've got links to the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, the American Public Power Association, even government resources like that Occupational Outlook Handbook.
Exactly. Everything you need.
So helpful. It's
Yeah.
like having a whole crew of career counselors, but, online. So as we get ready to wrap up this deep dive, what's the big takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with today?
I think the most important thing is this. Becoming a hydropower technician, it's not just a job. It's a whole career path, and a rewarding one at that.
Yes.
You're doing something good for the planet, helping to build a future powered by clean energy. It's an industry that's only growing, lots of room to move up, and the technology is really cool.
Absolutely. I couldn't say it better myself. It's challenging, no doubt. It's hands-on. It's always changing. But if you're someone who loves renewable energy and you're a natural problem solver, this could be it. This could be your thing.
And let's be real, there's a certain pride that comes with keeping the lights on. Literally.
For real. It's harnessing the power of nature, using it to build a brighter future. And on that note, I think it's time to power down this deep dive into the world of hydropower technicians.
I had a great time.
Me too. Hopefully everyone listening is feeling energized, informed, and ready to explore this awesome career path. Until next time, keep learning, keep those questions coming, and keep those turbines turning.